That is a very big cup, Carl.
Well, I'm a very big boy. Need a big tea. My big thirst. A Knight's Tale is a film mostly remembered for the fact it features a pre-The Dark Knight Heath Ledger delivering endless lance-assisted face slaps to a series of burly men decked head to toe in plate steel armour. Face slaps that were realised using a combination of, oddly enough, balsa wood and dry pasta.
A Knight's Tale is actually a fairly old film now.
It is a little bit, isn't it? So we should probably, just do a rundown of the plot so we're all on the same glorious page before we get into, the meat of the article. So, for anyone who's not seen it or hasn't seen it in a couple of years or just wants to see me, stumble through an explanation of what the film is, A Knight's Tale stars... For fuck's sake! The worst part is, we do this every single week and I always forget to put my phone on fucking silence. I'm sorry about that, guys, and Brad. Let's continue the description of the plot of A Knight's Tale. So, A Knight's Tale follows the story of Heath Ledger's character, a floppy-haired peasant boy who dreams of becoming a knight. A dream he hopes to accomplish by telling a series of big lies, styling himself as a nobleman from Europe called Ulrich von Liechtenstein. After doing this, Ledger sets about learning to joust with, let's be kind here, mixed results. Before we continue, let's just put on my Watch Mojo cap for a second and talk about movie trivia you might not have noticed, because I found something out about A Knight's Tale a couple of years after it got released that blew my fucking mind. Not like the bullshit way people on the internet say, no, this genuinely made me go, what the fuck? And that is that it's based on a true story.
Really?
Yeah, you think, based on was there really a guy who jousted for a woman? It's like, no, there was really a dude called Ulrich von fucking Liechtenstein. And apparently, he was a fucking phenomenal jouster. And the stuff he did in real life is way better than the stuff you see in the film. In the film, Heath Ledger's character says, oh, I will lose this tournament for you, my lady. Do you know what Ulrich von Liechtenstein did in real life when he wanted to pledge his love to a woman?
What?
He jousted across Europe in a wedding dress. So he wore a white dress. I think he dressed like Godiva or something like the goddess of love. So he went in a white silk dress and won every single jousting contest in that. And that's something I want to see in the fucking movie. If you want to know more about this, I did write an article for today. I found out they turned into a video. So you can go watch Simon Whistler talk about it if you're really interested. But I just want people to know, it's a real fucking story. And they never tell you that in the poster or the film trailer or any of the supplementary material about it. So I'm inclined to think they just stole this guy's life story and thought, fuck it, he's been dead for 500 years, you don't have to pay anyone for this, do it? Moving back to A Knight's Tale, as you can probably imagine, given that the entire plot of the film revolves around the fact Heath Ledger's character is trying to learn how to joust, the film itself contains many scenes of people jousting. Do you know what my favourite thing about A Knight's Tale is, though?
What?
It's it didn't do well at the box office, it didn't get great reviews, but the reviews it did get are fucking amazing. And I believe there's one from the New York Times or something like that, where the critic they got to review the film says, oh, there's too much jousting.
But it's a jousting movie!
In a film about jousting, their criticism of it was, it's too much jousting, not enough plot. And it's the film's about jousting. That is the plot, you fucking idiot. And I'm just imagining that critic now is going to watch any other film. It's he goes and watches Space Jam and goes, yeah, it's really good, but the Looney Tunes were in it a bit too much and there was a big focus on basketball I didn't understand. Another criticism that I noticed about the film that I find hilarious is all the people who criticise the fact it contains a hard rock soundtrack. So if you've not seen the film, if you don't remember it, it has I think Queen's We Will Rock You in it. I just love the idea of some smarmy reviewer sat there going, well, they didn't have hard rock back in the 13th century, so I give this film 6 out of 10. And I think Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4. He's no, the film's great. It's really fun. I enjoy it. Also, all those people saying, oh no, putting Queen in a film about from the 13th century is stupid. Fuck you, orchestras weren't invented back then either. Go and stop being boring. Since we're talking about the historical inaccuracies in A Knight's Tale and how they don't matter to the film as a whole, we might as well mention the best one, and that's when that lady blacksmith designs Heath Ledger's new armour and she puts fucking Nike swooshes on it.
One of these.
The marks of my trade. Should another knight admire the armour.
Because that is fantastic, and I wanted that idea to get just expanded upon a bit, and I want to see knights coming in wearing Adidas tracksuits. I want us to do a film where they just go fuck it. No. And you go like in a Knights Tale, if you look in the background, you see knights wearing like trainers and talking on smartphones and shit.
Everything in the foreground is completely historically accurate.
But in the background, you can just see extras going to like the food trolley and shit like that. So if you're gonna do it, fucking go for it. It's like, because that'd be awesome. Imagine combining modern style with style back then. I want to see like knights walking in and they're wearing like popped up collars but wearing the knight helmet. Do you like Count Adamau and he's been a huge big like preppy douchebag? He should be dressed like a douchebag from like an 80s film. So he should have like the sweat around his shoulders, he should have like, you know, the khakis and stuff like that. We should also be wearing the knight's helmet the entire fucking time. So getting back to the film once again, the sport of jousting is fairly dangerous. So dangerous in fact that it's noted that on set Heath Ledger somehow managed to accidentally knock out one of the director's teeth.
How do you knock out the director's teeth?
Oh, because they were playing around with broomsticks while acting out one of the scenes.
Oh, of course
So
they
it
were.
was the director's fault, to be fair. But I just like the idea that jousting is so dangerous that Heath Ledger accidentally knocks someone's teeth out while pretending to joust. But it could have been worse, because we all know, like given Heath Ledger's later role, he could have put that broomstick on a table with a point and just done the disappearing broomstick trick. Ta-da! It's gone.
So I've established that jousting is super dangerous.
Oh yeah, don't try this at home, kids. Do not, under any circumstance, grab a broomstick and ride a BMX into your mate with dustbin lids in your hand like they did on Jackass that one time.
But obviously on set they'll have had trained stuntmen who weren't charging each other with broomsticks.
Weren't dicking around with broomsticks. They did have trained stuntmen and even they got injured. And I believe the very first shot of jousting in the film is actual footage of Heath Ledger's body double getting his shit rocked. So like that scene where that guy falls off the horse, the stunt actor inside the costume really did injure himself and they had to go get someone else in to replace him for the rest of the film. Jeez. Yeah, that's how dangerous it fucking is. To minimise the risk posed for stunt actors charged with acting out the jousting scenes, the lancers they were given during those scenes were specially constructed to be simultaneously realistic looking enough but also really shitty so that they'd fly apart like a glass dildo being struck by lightning the moment they came into contact with another human being.
So how did they make the lances look more realistic when they exploded, but also make them safer to use?
Well, the first thing they did is they hollowed all of the lancers out and then put strategic cracks along their length so that they'd explode when the slightest amount of force was applied to them.
So where does pasta come into all this?
Well, they noticed during film that these hollow lancers, when they collided with a stunt actor's steel-clad head at Mach 3, didn't explode in a satisfying enough way. So what they started doing during production was filling the hollow lancers up with strips of balsa wood and dry pasta, specifically linguine. Do you know what I'm kind of upset never happened though when they were making A Knight's Tale?
What?
That one of the production crew or something like that got the memo wrong and filled all the lancers up with real cooked pasta. So if people don't know, when they're going to make guts in a movie, one of the things they can use is spaghetti bolognese. So apparently when spaghetti bolognese gets like blown up by squibs, it looks just like guts. And can you imagine now that lance head explosion, if when it happened was just this giant explosion of just red meaty paste, you'd be like, oh my god, that guy's dead. I remember once I was in university and a mate of mine who shook the tomato sauce and forgot to put the lid on. So he went, and the tomato sauce just went, boom. And from across the room, it looked like a sniper had hit him. The best one we used to do, and this is a game, I don't recommend playing it, but fuck it, people are going to do it anyways. You get those little packets of tomato sauce, you twist them.
Right.
And what you do is you get a group of like 4 or 5 people, and you one twist, pass it along. Next person puts another twist, pass it along. And then you can get like 13 twists in it before the fourth causes one side to explode and shoots the tomato sauce out like a bullet. And we did this in a pub once and it hit a bald guy on the back of the head. And I've never, ever in my life laughed as hard as I laughed at that moment there. And this guy just turned around and went... And I was laughing because I didn't have the hand. It wasn't me holding the tomato sauce, it wasn't my fucking fault. And it was like, when we were in school, it was, 5p for tomato sauce for your chips, so whatever people would get them, and then what they'd do is they'd put the end under a door in a classroom, and you stomp on it as hard as you can, and it shoots tomato sauce into the classroom. If you're watching this, you're in school, fuck it, try doing that. Just blame it on me, it'd be great.
Blame it on you. There'll be a spate of ketchup-based crime.
No, that was the thing, that's people never thought, and the first time it happened, it looked so fucking good. You just don't expect it. Your teacher's there at the board talking, and 2 seconds later, boom! Just tomato sauce fucking everywhere. And that was like everywhere, and they stopped selling those little tomato rashers, so people started bringing them in from McDonald's.
So the pasta does look good.
Yeah.
But surely it can't have been the first thing they tried.
No, apparently the first thing they tried was adding the splinters in digitally. And according to the director, he said, we did have a digital budget for splinters. We just decided against using it, presumably because pasta is cheaper than CGI. Do you know one of the reasons I love A Knight's Tale? I think it's watching it and seeing all the actors you now recognise from super huge big franchises just being in this shitty film from the 90s about jousting. It's like, you see Heath Ledger, is it Mark Addy, Paul Bettany and Alan Tudyk?
Yeah.
All like, rollicking around the countryside. Oh, look, there's the Joker. Robert Baratheon, The Vision, and that fucking guy from Firefly just chilling. It's like, what? That's why I like watching. I think it's not another teen movie.
Right.
Because the main, jock guy in that is Chris Evans. Captain America. Captain America's in that movie. And he's in that movie. And he gets naked. You can see Captain America's big old Captain America doll covered up by whipped cream and a cherry. And he shoves a banana up his ass. So there's footage out there that you're going to put in of just Captain fucking America walking away glumly with a fucking banana and whipped cream shoved right up his jackhole. Not another teen movie. It makes fun of all those shitty 80s and 90s teen rom-coms, doesn't it? And one of the ones it makes fun of is 10 Things I Hate About You, which stars Heath Ledger. So there's another link right there. Because that's also got, I think that's got Heath Ledger and Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it, who both went on to star in the Dark Knight franchise as the Joker and Robin. You've got to deliver that stone face, because that line is so bad. One of those that always gets me, makes me chuckle, is, I forget the actress's name, but she's in The Flash. So I'm sure you better put a picture behind me so people know who she is. And it's like she's the sidekick who's all the weird science shit. Her previous roles prior to that was in horror movies where she plays a girl in a bikini who gets murdered. That's just what she did. She's just a girl with tits out who gets stabbed or eaten by piranhas. And now she's Killer Frost. So imagine, I'm looking back at all these superheroes now thinking, if you went back to some of these earlier roles that these superheroes played, man, they look so bad, don't they? So you look at Robert Downey Jr. in fucking weird science. You look at the Joker's Heath Ledger, and he's just the guy in 10 Things I Hate About You at a paintball fucking course.
Oh, there's Johnny Depp in Nightmare on Elm Street as a man who gets murdered.
Oh yeah, he's
that
in
was
it.
One of his first
He's
roles.
the
He
first
said introducing Johnny Depp in the credits. But yeah, the actress who plays Killer Frost, she's in a film called Sky High.
No.
Yeah, she's
Sky High's so shit. I love it. So that movie's. Oh wait, she's the girl who
she's
controls
the
the
plant powers. Yeah,
she's the plant power one. So her career arc went Sky High, getting murdered alongside David Hasselhoff in Piranha 36 Double D, Killer Frost. That's a career arc you can be proud of right there, isn't it?